Advertising giant IPG has recommended to its clients, which include American Express, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, and others, to temporarily pause advertising on Twitter. This follows GM, which paused advertising on the platform last week. Joining us right now to talk about this and the larger digital advertising slowdown picture is Axios business editor Dan Primack. And Dan, let's just start with the latest leg of this. IPG actually telling its customers to hold off on this is a little more concerning than just GM. When it was GM, we could say, OK, that's because GM competes with Elon's other company, Tesla. But what do you think this kind of spells out just in terms of what big companies are going to be thinking when it comes to advertising on Twitter?
I think slowdown makes sense. I think what companies are seeing, it's not so much the concern of, the hellscape right now. It's the chaos. Right. It looks and looks accurately from talking to folks inside of Twitter and even in Elon's orbit. He came into this without much of a plan. And I understand anytime you take over a company, obviously things are going to change. Executives are going to leave, et cetera. But he seems to be largely making this up as it goes along. And when it comes to advertising, that is the core, at least right now, of Twitter's revenue base. And it feels like Elon is focusing on other things. You guys were talking earlier about, the blue check marks and verification, which he views as a revenue stream. And that might become an important revenue stream for the company. But right now, that even if every blue check mark paid $8 a month, it is very small money compared to what they're currently getting from their big advertisers.
Look, I've been following Yoel Roth, who's the head of safety and integrity at Twitter, kind of watching what they're talking about. You did see an increase in some of the hate speech that was there, but they look like they moved pretty quickly to try and address those things. It seems, at least from right now, that they are taking this pretty seriously. They don't want to see this happen either. If advertisers are waiting and seeing, what would they have to see, I guess, before they would feel more comfortable? IPG would say, OK, go ahead and continue advertising.
I mean, obviously, I can't speak for IPG, but I'll give you a couple examples. First, Elon talked a couple days ago, and he reiterated last night that they're going to create this, can't remember what he called it, content moderation team. Now, Twitter already had one of these, but obviously he wants a new one. But who are the people? He says it'll take a couple weeks. Elon's effectively known for months he was going to have to buy this company. I think they'd like to see who are the people, maybe have it in place, have the policies in place, which is stuff, honestly, he could have had done already, or at least those conversations could have started. I think maybe
I'm not convinced he was definitely going to buy this until maybe a week before it happened.
If he didn't think he was going to buy it till a week before it happened, he wasn't listening to all the people around him, or many of whom who said, look, you're most likely going to lose this case. And even if he thought there was a chance he was going to go to trial and win, he had to know there was a very good chance he'd lose and should have been making some contingencies for that.
Hey, Dan, is it possible that the hellscape could be funded by advertisers that are okay with the hellscape? And what I'm thinking of, I mean, Mercedes doesn't.
Hello?
Mercedes and other, I don't know, Mercedes, pick a blue chip company, pick Coca-Cola, any of them. There's certain cable networks that I don't see any decent ads on. I mean, I see a lot of pillows. I see a lot of, stuff for my knee joints. They seem to do really well with sort of the bottom feeders in advertising. Is that what he'd be stuck with, Elon, if he decided to stick with the advertising model?
He may be, if you got to the hellscape, Joe. Most of the blue chip. Dan.
We're there. I looked at it.
The big problem for Elon, remember, he paid $44 billion, which means he needs to make this. It's not just he has to maintain the status quo. He's got to make this thing much more successful in terms of revenue. It also needs to have a user base.
But it ain't going to be Mercedes and Coca-Cola ads if it doesn't.
No. I agree with you. No, that's not a winning model. That cannot be the path he goes down. It cannot all be, Craftmatic beds.